Hello. Welcome to the Night is Dark podcast, a podcast dedicated to Game of Thrones, especially season 5, which has just begun. What's up, guys? My name is Maude Garrett.
And I'm Tiffany Smith. We just finished watching the first episode.
Certainly did.
And joining us remotely
from Vegas, Mr. Ken Napzok.
That's right, from the Gold Coast Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm Ken Napzok.
And with the power of technology, you are in with us, joining for us for The Night is Dark in our podcast. Guys, if you want to check this out, make sure you're following Geek Bomb on YouTube, youtube.com/geekbombshells. And make sure you're following Tiffany Smith's lovely YouTube page as well, which is youtube.com/Tiffany M. Smith. Mm-hmm. And if you want the audio version of this podcast, be following the Napzok files. You can find that on iTunes, Stitcher, and that other thing which Ken will mention now.
It's Podomatic, which you can find the show there. Thanks to your guys' viewership of the first episode, I'm actually the number 2 comedy podcast in all of Podomatic. So I'm going to put that on my resume in hopes that I get a good job waiting tables.
We were so funny on that first episode.
Yeah.
Well, we're back at it again. You may notice that things look a little bit different. We are not using Google Hangout anymore. Apparently, it was a little bit touch and go there. So with this massive thanks to David Fickus and the team at I See the Frog, we have a multiple camera setup and we're able to use Skype with this. So guys, make sure you follow them on Twitter at I See the Frog. They pretty much collate all the funniest stuff on the internet for you. So give that a like and check out their website, iseethefrog.com too.
And there's also candles here, you know, because we're all Lord of Lighty up in this business.
Yes. It's very Melisandre's cabin over there.
Thank you.
The candles are red, too.
Now, we're about to get to the question out of the way. Is everyone here a virgin? Oh, because apparently that is important in this particular episode. Shall we get stuck into our recap and review?
Let's do it.
Absolutely.
Alrighty, I think we should talk about the elephant in the room. That is someone at Game of Thrones or HBO kind of slipped up a bit. And the first 4 episodes of Game of Thrones has been leaked. They are available through torrents and services as the likes, which none of us have done because that's not a good thing to do. That is against the law. So it's probably not good to point fingers at someone and possibly get them into a lot of trouble. I'm going to name you as the culprit. But yeah, I think that's going to throw a lot of people off. 4 episodes are out. Guys, have you watched them? Well, actually, no, we're not going to go there. Why do you think this has happened? And what have you heard so far? Because obviously if someone's just binge watched 4 episodes, they could spoil everything for us, the diehard fans.
More about, like, for me, I saw the tweets today. People were sending messages and being like, the first 4 episodes are up. My initial reaction was, I don't want to see them. I want to watch them as they were meant to come out. I want to follow along with all the fans as we do when we watch the shows and get to talk about them afterwards. But then I'm getting tweets where people are like, I watched all 4. And I'm like, first of all, don't tweet anything to me directly about it because I haven't watched them. But Ken, how did you feel when you heard about that today?
I avoid any kind of leaks along the way, whether it's criminal or not. I just don't like to get what is not meant for me. The producers might change some things. Who knows if it's the final cut, special effects fixed. I don't know. In this case, it might be that everything is there and the episodes are good to go. I just avoid it. Don't want to watch it.
Apparently the episode was pretty true on. You just weren't able to have the previously on or next week you'll see.
Well, I assume that because generally they're so far out filming that those 4 episodes are probably solid. Those are the final what we would be getting to see. But I don't know if it's something where it's like, do you think that there's a chance that someone at HBO was like, let's see if this whole like Netflix putting out every single episode at once works for us as well? Because it's like Daredevil just came out. Everyone binge watched a full season. Would you actually watch a full season? You would.
Yes.
I
wouldn't drink. I wouldn't sleep. I'd maybe take a bathroom break.
The thing with Game of Thrones for me, and this is why Maude and I were totally nerding out as we watched this episode, because both of us take quite a few notes as we watch the show. So for me, I'm like, yeah, Ken too.
I have 4 A4 pages of notes.
But as I'm watching, I'm like, sometimes I watch each episode 2 times. I'll watch it, take some notes, and then watch again and just enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I think if it were an entire season that came out for me, it would be overload. It would be too much.
That's true. Yeah, I understand
too
what
much
you're saying.
info at once.
I cannot be patient with this kind of thing. I cannot have someone else everyone's got access to it and go, no, I will not watch I will cancel my week to watch them all.
Yeah.
But maybe that's just me. So let's get stuck into this particular episode, The Wars to Come, episode 1 from season 5. Mm-hmm. Now, something that a lot of people, if you haven't read the books, and we're not spoiling anything with that, but if you haven't read the books, it may be a little bit hard to figure out what's going on. For example, the witch that they meet in the lands of King's Landing, that particular area where you see a young Cersei for the first time, she goes to this witch to get her fortune told. Mm-hmm. Her future mapped out. Now, Ken, you can help me with this. It's Ms. Froggy?
Maggie the Frog.
Maggie the Frog.
Maggie the Frog. The character with Cersei is one of 2 characters. They didn't make it clear in the credits. I was looking it up. It's either Melara Heatherspoon or Jane Farman. Melara was supposed to marry Jaime Lannister, and that's part of what we didn't see is Maggie telling her, you're not going to marry him, and Melara dies the next day. They've clearly cut that out. It doesn't factor into the story, but it's factors great into Cersei, who she is.
Now, this isn't the first time we haven't had, this isn't the first time we've had a fortune being explained. Mm-hmm. Like, we know that when Daenerys went into that particular area, what was that called, in Astapor, she went through the House of Death, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, when she went to see, when we talked about Drogo coming back. The House of the Undying. Am I making that up?
House of the Undying?
Gosh, guys. This
House
is
of
a
the Undying.
disaster. Yeah.
House of the Undying.
I was like, I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
This is the
when
man
she saw Drogo again.
This is the man, who had the blackened mouth, and they pretty much tricked her into it. And she had, particular parts of her future explained to her, like basically 3 people will betray you: one for love, one for money, and one for something else that someone will tell me.
That drink is called the Shade of the Evening, and it's a very high-powered, fun elixir, kind of like my Miller Lite.
Well, and she went into this to talk to this witch, and it was like, you get 3 questions. Yeah. And it was funny because this young actress definitely has Cersei down, because it's like the sneering sideways look. Yeah. And just like that, she has no patience. There was a moment where it's like, you watch old stuff or you read like old fairy tales where it's like, you get 3 questions for the genie, but you better think them out. And she's like, she just immediately burns through her first 2 questions.
When will we marry? But will I be queen? And will the king and I have children? Yeah. And this Maggie the Frog is so kind of like, sweetheart, you do not want to know about your future, trust me. And then does. And the answers are, you will never wed Prince Rhaegar. Now, this is the prince that she's talking about for the people that didn't read the books. She was supposed to marry Prince Rhaegar during the time where Tywin Lannister was helping out the Targaryens. Yep. And had promised Cersei to her and told Cersei, you will be marrying Prince Rhaegar. This is going to happen. And then they went to this tourney, and Cersei, was falling in love with Rhaegar and was like, I can't wait to be his princess. I'm going to marry this man. And then Tyrion goes, you know what? No, not happening. And basically it was the Targaryen saying, you are my slave. Why would I marry my son to a slave's daughter? Yeah. So that didn't happen. So no, you will not marry Prince Rhaegar. Yes, you'll be queen for a time.
And then someone younger will come in.
Someone younger, more beautiful will cast you down. So that's what this is what's going through her head now that her father's died, now that she doesn't have Jaime on her side to do her bidding. She kind of feels so isolated and alone. Yeah. Lost her son, Joffrey.
She's not queen anymore.
Only sees Tommen, and that's her only hope to be the regent, and just seeing Marjorie completely playing everyone.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at now.
It's so good. I mean, I think that when you see Marjorie interacting with Tommen in this episode as well.
That smirk, like, she's got a better smirk than freaking Cersei.
It's Cersei 2.0.
Yeah. But younger and more beautiful.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So, Ken, how are you feeling about her? Are you that much more into her? Are you still on Team Cersei?
Well, I love Cersei. I love that opening scene. Though they've are not addressing the Valonqar, which is the part of the prophecy of a little brother who will kill her. I love that scene. It, to me, explains what's driven Cersei since she was 10 years old.
Absolutely,
you can start to see that character's the spear of who that character is. It starts young.
Yeah. We also kind of realize that Cersei's donned in black. She's mourning the loss of her father, Tywin Lannister, and over his dead body, decides to blame Jaime for everything that's happened.
Which here, as we were watching it here together, I was like, are we about to get another super awkward scene over a funeral with these incestual sister and brother kind of thing? But we didn't.
It's actually the complete opposite. These guys are done. They used to be the closest in the world. They loved each other and they only wanted to be with each other. But when Jaime was held captive and lost his hand and came back a year later, she looked at him and was like, you're not my brother anymore, and everything changed.
Well, and I think this moment, too, it was, as we were watching it as well, I was like, how does everyone knows for sure that it was Tyrion? Everyone knows. There's no question about it, whereas with Joffrey, there was questioning. There had to be the trial. In this case, it's like everyone knows that it was Tyrion. And I think that was the final nail in the coffin for the two of them.
Yeah. They're betrayed by the brother, but she's like, yes, my brother, Tyrion's a monster. That we know, that we get. But you were the one that helped the monster do this. Look at your dead father who loved you the most, yet you let him die.
By accident, which was the best part, that she's like, at least Tyrion, which I was like, oh, God. And she's like taking his manhood as she says this, where she was like, Tyrion at least did what he wanted to do. He had a mission and he killed our father. You accidentally let him go and killed our father.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of blame throwing.
That scene, once again, Cersei, she has such a way to just cut people at and really just punch them in the soul. You got to wonder what Jaime's going to do from this point on. Is he going to break away, or is he now out to prove Cersei wrong or make it up to her some way? I thought that was a good open-ended question they posed.
We have to understand that Cersei's only weapon is her words. Like, that's all she's got. And you read in the book time and time again, she's like, people wouldn't talk to me this way if I was a man. People wouldn't, disrespect me or challenge me. My father, my brother, no one questions them. No one treats them with any kind of ill respect. Yet I'm getting trodden on because I'm a woman. And I thought that was a really kind of good point. And she's only got that crippling, almost, paralyzing tongue of hers to kind of just destroy people with her words.
Well, and it's interesting because you start to see, obviously, Dany doing her thing and ruling in her queenly way. And so it's interesting because looking at Cersei and saying, okay, if it were a different time, would she have been treated differently? Would she have been able to be a ruler as a woman in the family, as a daughter of the Lannisters? In the future, maybe, but not right now. No one's seen that yet.
Unless you're in Dawn, because in Dawn, women can rule, and the people of Dawn... Is this a spoiler if I say this, Ken?
No.
I don't know.
Plug your ears if you think it might be.
Well, Joffrey's dead. Tommen's ruling. Where's the older sister?
Well, no, we know that because
she's in Dawn.
If you... At the end of last season, they talked about that. And then on the... Coming up next on Game of Thrones, they alluded to that as well.
Yes. So if in Dawn women can rule, then they will elect her to be queen, and then it's like, all right, well, King's Landing, your daughter is the right heir to the throne. Will you accept her, or will you have Tommen? So they're going to cause a war between the two.
If I was Dorne, I'd want to put Marcella on the Iron Throne.
Yeah,
that would be my plan. They have her. She's a big tool, big weapon for them.
Absolutely. And just speaking of going to Dorne and getting to see some new areas, we see Tyrion getting out of the crate, which I think is one of the best little openings ever and so true to his character, where he gets out. First thing he does is go for the alcohol.
I mean, I'm not saying that I don't know where he's coming from.
Yeah.
Landed in Pentos, and Varys has completely kept to his word. He is risking everything, especially his life, to transport Tyrion onwards. Now he's got an agenda, and this is what I love. He's risking his life. He's risking everything because he believes that Tyrion can be a key to the future of the Seven Kingdoms. This is what he truly believes, and he is planning 3 steps ahead right now, and needs to convince Tyrion that he actually is man enough to make a difference, whereas Tyrion's just neck deep in any bottle of whatever.
Well, and as I was watching again, I just remembered when you go back to the first season, he's the one who goes to talk to Ned Stark.
Yep.
He's the one who is actually orchestrating a lot of stuff, and quietly, where, for whatever reason, though he is someone who's constantly involved, and I don't know if it's because, he's a eunuch and people kind of underestimate him, and he's got the guy in the box, and then you get to this part, and he talks about the fact that there is this group that has been instigating the Targaryen restoration.
Yep.
And so you see that moment happen. And for whatever reason, for me, I was like, yeah, he's risking his life. But guess what? He's been doing that the entire time. And this is almost the first time that he's not in the thick of it, where it's like he's out somewhere where he's a little bit safer. He can really reveal more of his cards to Tyrion and see where Tyrion falls.
So, Ken, your opinion on this? This means that Varys has been working for the Targaryens the entire time. We do know switched it over again, and Jorah Mormont was working for Robert Baratheon. So that means that these spies and spiders and ears and little birdies that are everywhere around, that Varys has always been working for the Targaryens from day one.
Absolutely. Flashback to season 1 when Arya is chasing the cats and goes down deep into the Red Keep where the dragon skulls are. That is Varys and Ilario talking. Yeah. And that is this has been their plan all along. Stuff is still yet to unfold. And you have to wonder, how much did Varys account for? You know, certain characters dying or certain plans going awry. He always seems to be one step ahead of what might be a problem. I love this scene. I love, too, the flashback to season 2 of just those two characters talking and their mutual kind of respect, as tenuous as it can be at times. I love seeing those two actors kind of go at it again. It kind of makes me excited for this version of the story.
And it's, again, this show for me is always about people changing positions of power and seeing Varys and how he's interacting with Tyrion. I think it was, again, a moment where you realize he is really someone who is in an incredible power position. He's been the one who's been working in the background. And Tyrion's like, I don't know if I even want to be in power anymore. I killed my dad on the pooper.
Yeah. That's a direct quote. Make some t-shirts, guys. Exactly. On the pooper.
The game of poopers. I like to talk about poop. It happens.
Yeah.
So he's in this position where it's like, I don't even know if I want to be in power anymore. I don't think I'm someone who can be in power. And Varys is like, listen, you can be born into it, or people can do things to gain power. And I see that in you, which was interesting because you're like, that's the last person you would think would be giving Tyrion a pep talk.
But throughout, whether you've read the books or watched the whole series, it just regardless, like this guy he has the perfect balance of doing what's right and doing it with compassion and doing what needs to be done. So, you've got all these other rulers. Stannis is way too hard in his ruling.
Yep.
You had Joffrey, who just
careful there.
Hey. I know you love Stannis, but it's true. He's not the best man for the job. Tommen's too soft. Joffrey was too psychotic. Daenerys, we have no idea where she's going, but she's probably the best person for the role, especially in Varys' eyes. And he thinks the person that would be best suited to help her rule is Tyrion. Like, oh, what?
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Well, Tyrion proved he can do it, and Varys was firsthand. And Varys told him, others will forget, but I will always remember what you did for the realm.
Yeah. Moving into the next scene, we notice that the harpy is being ripped down off the top of the period in Meereen. This means that well and truly Astapor...
Off the top of the what?
Pyramid.
I thought you said the period.
Oh.
I thought
the
that
harpy
too. I thought it was just my
plugged
connection here
the
in Vegas.
period.
No, I think she might have said...
The pyramid.
Yes, the harpy is being pulled off of the pyramid.
Ew. Light some candles.
And so we get to see the Unsullied again. We're seeing what has been happening with Dany and her ruling situation. And we talked about this on the last episode when we were just like kind of leading up to everything, where, she's the breaker of chains, but she chained up those dragons. And I'm like, dude, you think they're going to be happy to see you? It's like you grounded your kids and you left them in there by themselves. They're going to be pissed off.
The first thing that happened in Meereen, speaking of First Bloods, we saw that happen with old White Rat, who got his throat slit when he was visiting the brothel. Can we just talk about how, like, the burning question that we've all had? How the hell does an Unsullied feel satisfied? You go to a brothel for what? A nub rub?
Snuggled and...
I can tell you exactly, that scene reminded me of Charlie Bowdry in Young Guns paying a prostitute just to hug him. It is a guy who just wanted to be touched, to feel some compassion, to feel that.
And then
I thought we were going to see some nub, but instead I realized, he's just Charlie Bowdry from Young Guns.
They just want to be snuggled and hummed to.
So the last thing that you would expect is a knife to be reaching around his throat and to cut his throat completely open. And it is the return of the woman with the gold mask. Now, last episode that we had, our very first episode together of The Night is Dark, we brought her up. She is coming here. We do not know who her identity, if it even is a woman, we don't know who her identity is.
No, that's a harpy.
That was the Sons of the Harpy.
So it's not the same thing?
It's not the one with the face covered. The face covered one was totally different.
They're the same from Astapor.
This is totally different. So basically, also guys, we didn't say this at the beginning of the episode. I'm sorry that we didn't. Obviously, this show is spoiler heavy. So if you've not watched tonight's episode, we will talk about people's throats getting slit and who characters are coming up out of nowhere.
This is a digestion of the episode.
Exactly. So this one is Sons of the Harpy, which you talked about the Harpy being pulled off the pyramid. There are still people in the city that feel that Dany should not be ruling, and they're fighting against her. So that is who is making me
one horny nub at a time.
Exactly. They don't want the Unsullied to be satisfied in any way.
Yeah.
So that's who killed White Rat, and then having to reveal this to Dany and explain what's going on. And she obviously wants to support them as much as she can. And, that's where we get into, finally we get to see Grey Worm back again, which I was excited about that.
And Miss Sunday. There's obviously chemistry between these two, Ken.
Well, absolutely. When Miss Sunday goes up and says, "Hey, I'm hearing some of your friends are going to see the ladies.
Yep.
What's that about? Do you want to see the ladies?" Like, we got some connection there.
I was like, does she think that maybe they're saying they're castrated, but they're not?
No, the Unsullied are definitely they've lost all their members, and they're tackle and bait. They cannot cast a line.
Yeah,
they cannot cast a line, which is why this guy got his head stroked with a lullaby. There ain't nothing happening downstairs.
Yeah,
but there's obvious chemistry
Absolutely.
and attraction between Missandei and Grey Worm, and she's saying this guy's going to the brothel even though he can't get his jollies off. I hear that others are going. I hear. Rumors are spreading. Are you one of them? Is the subtext that she's going out there, and he just denies it flatly, going, I don't know.
And just kind of talking about her as a character, because if you've seen Furious 7, you know that she's in that movie, and it is crazy. I mean, I saw Furious 7, couldn't place who she was, and then you see her on this show, and you're like, she's great. She's beautiful. She's an incredible actress, and it's two completely different roles. And it was funny because I think I maybe said this in the last one, but where I was like, when you walked on the set of Furious 7, did you feel like I can totally take this green screen stuff, because you did Game of Thrones and it's so epic? And she's like, I've acted with dragons. I thought I could take it. She's like, but I get on set and there are explosions. And I'm like, no, this is way crazier.
Yeah, right. I didn't know that. I haven't seen Furious 7 yet. Sorry.
Yeah.
So something's going down in the brothels over there. But I like the Missandei and Grey Worm love story. The fact that he played dumb, though, what's he hiding? Not the fact that he's got bits and pieces. That's
I think for him it's more about the fact that he is one of the more honorable of the Unsullied, and so you don't even discuss
He had a tits perv. He was Mr. Tits Pervert.
What?
In last season, she was bathing, and he was like, a zing.
He just peeped a little bit.
Oh,
peeped.
He peeped a little.
He panted.
Honey, drank that in like a fine wine.
Yeah.
About it later.
That's true.
Well, I mean, maybe some of them aren't.
There was a phantom sound. Aww, too soon. Sorry. All right, moving on in the episode. Let's hit up Castle Black. Yes, the wall is back. When we last left them, the wildlings, Mance Rider pretty much was causing defeat because Stannis came out of nowhere and was like, I'll save the day. Only if you're in Castle Black. But of course, Mance Rider will not bow. He will not take the knee. But turns out Stannis also wants an army. He wants the wildlings to fight on his side so he can take the wall and the north back. Sorry, the north. What's it called?
Westeros.
No, what? Winterfell.
I was like, what are you talking about?
And he's using Jon Snow to help it happen because obviously Winterfell was his home and he's like, it's no more. I want to put Roose Bolton's head on a spike. Raise your hands if you'd like to see that.
Yep, I'm in. Go ahead.
So he just needs Mance to, basically, show support and so he can have control of the wildlings.
I also just like that you get to see that. Go, Ken.
No, go ahead. Again, Stannis is doing what is right. I just want you to acknowledge
He's not doing what's right. He's doing what Melisandre is telling him to do. Melisandre.
He's a puppet.
He's doing what she tells him to do. He has no control. He's like, cool, go ahead. You light the fire. You do the little endy speech because I'm just going to stand here and let you do everything. That's how I feel. Yeah. But I think the bigger part of that entire sequence is the fact that how we first see Jon again. Jon's training the kid who shot his love.
Yeah.
He's training the kid who shot Ygritte. And
Ygritte shot him as well, like 3 times.
But you're seeing the fact that it's like...
killed that kid's father, so, you know.
But I'm just saying that even all that happened, Jon is still the most honorable, loyal, sweet, kind, everything.
Well, why don't you just get a room with him then?
You know, I mean, I'm not going to say I wouldn't.
Snowed in.
Down to Mole's Town with Jon Snow there, Tiff?
You know something.
I would hold him and hum to him and just stroke his hair.
Hashtag nub rub.
Oh dear, not again. I keep saying things that are going to be a hashtag.
Yep.
But also, Melisandre, we see her again. Does anyone else's like bones turn to ice when you see her?
She's so creepy.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's like, I mean, literally, where I was talking about Stannis, and I'm like, she is the one who's completely in control. Stannis, I don't know if he knows that. And there's certain moments where she's like, sure, you go ahead. You go talk to that Jon Snow guy and see if you can get Mance to bend the knee. Oh, you can't? Cool. The whole plan for me the whole time was to burn him anyway.
I think Stannis has a little more control, but I do agree that she has kind of the upper edge on their partnership. She's already kind of cheating behind his back, going for Jon.
But I don't think she was going for Jon. There's that. I mean, obviously, I got tweets of people saying that, "Are you a virgin? What's that about?" And we mentioned at the beginning of the episode. But I think that has more to do with the Lord of Light, because we talked about the fact that she has sex with not Ramsay,
Gendry.
With Gendry, yeah, and he was a virgin, right? He was.
I don't think he was.
I think he was.
You hang around Flea Bottom banging things, when you're a smithy. I'm sure some young lady came around looking for him.
Okay. I thought that he was, because I remember something about him and the virginity thing when she has sex with him and the leeches and whatever. But so I was wondering if that's something where it's, if they're a virgin and they have king's blood in them or royal blood in them, that it's something that the Lord of Light has to have a piece of. I don't know. Literally a piece of.
Piece of.
Because she says good.
Yeah, she's happy. Is that good? I don't have to jump on and have a ride, or is that good? The more defiled you are.
Yeah, the Red Woman has her needs too. She likes a good bath. Maybe she wants a roll in the hay with Jon Snow. We're assuming big things. Maybe she just wants to go on a proper date down to Mole's Town.
I don't think she wants it. I don't think anything she does doesn't have an ulterior motive.
Let's also talk about the elephant in the room with Jon Snow. Why is she so interested in the bastard of Ned Stark, who was never a king? Oh, that's right, because maybe Ned's not Jon's father. Maybe Jon Snow has royal blood in his body. Maybe because his father was actually a king.
I believe that's absolutely it.
Maybe his mother was a queen.
We don't know.
Yeah, I don't think his mother was, but...
You don't think his mother was?
Jon Snow's mother?
Yeah.
No, I don't believe
it. Why would, I think in certain situations, it's like a mother who has a bastard son would be kept more secret. Or would she have been able to keep him?
All right, let's just do it. Spoiler! We are about to talk about who we think Jon Snow's mother and father is. Ready?
Don't say anything that you know from the books, though, because I don't know.
No one knows.
Okay.
There's nothing confirmed, Tiffany. There's nothing confirmed from the books.
Just saying. I'm just saying. Just putting it out there.
R plus L equals J. R plus L equals J. I think that is established early on, and that is who Jon's parents are.
So Ned is not the father of Jon Snow, but his sister is the mother. So his sister, who was supposed to be wed to Robert Baratheon and just mysteriously died, so lives down in the crypts.
She lives down in the crypts.
She's got a statue down there. That's like the only
her
time
tomb is in the crypts.
Yeah, that's the only time we've seen her.
Yep.
But yeah, so Ned, it's Jon Snow is his nephew. So it's his sister that's Jon's mother, and the father is the Mad King, right?
Targaryen.
No, his father's Rhaegar Targaryen.
Rhaegar, who was supposed to get married to Cersei.
Yeah. Who, again, and for him, this is not spoiler territory. This is a theory because it's never been confirmed.
Yeah.
But yes, absolutely. That is why Ned and Howland Reed and 3 other people had to go to the tower to save Lyanna, and that's where she said her famous words, "Promise me, Ned." So that is what I believe, and what most people do believe, that is who his parents are, making him Dany's nephew.
Oh, I was like half sibling. No, nephew.
Which means he's got the dragon's blood in his body.
Yeah.
Dragon's blood.
Yeah. I just find it interesting, the fact that he has just become so honorable as it goes on. And you're like, is it because he doesn't know that he has king's blood in him? Because everyone else who knows that they're of royal blood, something makes them go cuckoo town.
Yeah.
And he has not.
Stannis feels that he's the oldest brother. He should have the right to the throne. The Targaryens were the original rulers. Therefore, Daenerys feels that she should be on the throne. Everyone's fighting. I mean, it's called the Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
This is the game in effect happening. And Jon is an unsuspecting player, perhaps.
Yeah. Well, and it's, you see him with the interaction with Mance. And you see all the other characters, how they interact with the politics of Westeros and trying to get people to do what they need them to do or want them to do. And they all have ulterior motives. With Jon, it's like he goes to talk to him. The ulterior motive is that he cares about this man and has a respect for him and doesn't want the wildlings to be destroyed or killed or unsafe. So he explains everything. He's totally upfront about it. And I'm like, that is what you want in a ruler. That is what you want in someone, where it's like, okay, I'm going to tell you all of these things. Yes, it looks like you're going to have to let your pride go a little bit and bow the knee. But guess what? You're going to save everybody else.
Yeah, the greater good, in effect.
Yeah.
But Mance Rayder will not bend the knee. And he says, if you have to ask why, you do not deserve to know. And I think that the overall message is a pretty powerful one, where it was just like, you're making the biggest mistake. And he goes, the freedom to make my own mistakes was all I ever wanted. So, yeah, that's more later on in the episode. But you're right, Jon Snow's got a heart in the right place and could be a worthy ruler. Then we head to the Vale, and we realize that little Lord Robin of the Vale is the most pathetic sack of shit we've ever seen.
We just discovered that? I mean,
he was sucking on his mama's titties since he was like 8, till he was 8.
It was kind of a perfect reintroduction to this character, where you're like, where has he been?
Oh God!
He's like flopping the sword around and the shield, and he's just like flailing. It was terrible. There's sound effects going on in the background.
I thought Sam Tarly was bad with the sword, but then little Lord Robin of Aaron. What is it? Robin of the Vale.
Yeah.
Robin Aaron of the Vale. Yeah, and Lord Royce had some great line. That was a pretty funny scene with that guy.
Yep. And that's the first time we see Sansa back again.
Yes.
And just how dark she's become. What?
With her new hairdo.
Yeah, with her new hairdo. How she's just she looks so much more like Melisandre now, and her mom.
Yeah.
Everything about her is so much darker, and they go through that little moment in the carriage where she all of a sudden has become this person who it's like, you don't trust this person? Well, guess what? I don't trust this person or this person. You don't trust them or this person. And
she's learning how to play the game.
Exactly.
Yep.
She's finally getting it. And it's interesting because I'm like, she gets it enough, but she's still sharing it with him, which that to me, I was like,
she's only got him. Yeah. He saved her. She owes him everything. And he's not only teaching her, how to be safe and bringing her a new identity of Elaine and a new hair color, etc., to go along with it. But he's also going, you are my daughter. You are my bastard daughter. Therefore, you have to do as I say, and I will keep you close.
Yeah.
And I will protect you. Yeah, he's got a hard-on for her. That much is obvious. But he's also trying to save her because she is the only person left that they know of from Winterfell. I do think it's interesting. Sansa was always like, oh, everything's great. Everything's fantastic. I'm getting beaten up at night, but I won't say it. Everything's great. Joffrey is the most evil person in the world, but I won't say it. And now she's like, oh, I get it. The veil's been lifted, pun intended, from her eyes. And now Peter Baelish, Littlefinger, is just like, I'm playing the Game of Thrones and I'm kicking ass at it. Here, let me help you out because you are now my daughter, Elaine. So those two are great together, I feel.
And it was... Go.
It's great to see Sansa, the growth of this character, going back to the 13-year-old girl standing sheepishly and scared in front of the queen to now she's a power player. And what I love is I know where this character's going, how powerful she'll end up being. She could be better than Baelish. She's learning from the best. There's this character, which was always one of my least favorite or least interesting characters, though I loved Sophie Turner's performance as her from day one. Now this character potential with her. She's got this dark edge now, and I like it.
Well, and we talked about this again last episode, but saying that this season is really diverging from the books a lot. A lot of the stuff that's going to happen this season has not happened in the book. And did George R.R. say he's writing separate Sansa chapters now? Did I make that up, or did that stuff come out? Like, I want to say last week or something. They talked about, it was posted that he was working on separate Sansa chapters.
Chapter from Winds of Winter, that was from her perspective. I don't know if it was an extra one or not. I actually didn't pay attention to that because I didn't want to read it. I thought it would be spoilers for season 5. I didn't want to take that chance.
Yeah.
Hey guys, if you are watching this right now live, use that hashtag The Night Is Dark, or tweet either Ken Napzok at Ken Napzok, myself at Maude Garrett, or Tiffany at Tiffany's tweets, in with your questions, your Game of Thrones questions that you'd like us to either talk about, discuss, or point blank ignore because they are spoilers and that's rude. We also are on live stream tonight, and there's a chat box function. So if you've got a live stream account, you can chat along. Ken, you've got access to the chats. What's people saying in there?
There's a good mix of people who have never read the books, people who have read them 4 times. Looks like Rachel's on there. I know she's read it about 4 times.
Hey, Rach.
It's a good side conversation. You guys are keeping it good, and I love seeing people who are just here from the show, from the TV show. And I don't want to spoil anything for those folks, but it's refreshing to me that there's this big fandom, big universe that can appreciate all sides of the source material.
And I know you love her with a love that can only be explained by you, but Cersei, I want to just talk a little bit about, again, the scenes at the funeral where but where she's with her cousin, when Cersei
Lancel.
was with her cousin and he comes back in and you're like, I was like, this is going to be the first death of the episode. This is going to be the first death of the season, where she just is chatting with him and he's explaining everything about Baratheon.
So a little bit of a recap. If you'd watched HBO, you'd notice that it said previously on Game of Thrones, and Lancel's there with his long mop of hair, who used to squire for Robert Baratheon,
and also used to sleep with his cousin.
Yes, so Cersei would seduce him, his her little young cousin, with her body to say, "Hey, do thy bidding, and you get to jump on this." So what did he do? He made sure that Robert Baratheon was so drunk when he went out killing this boar that he pretty much came back with a mortal wound and died. Well, Lancel has now found the 7 gods. He's become what's known as a sparrow, which is getting talked about a lot in the books, this particular book. And he basically wants to cleanse his soul and asks for forgiveness from Cersei. And by doing so, you're right, completely recognizes and confesses all the bad shit that he did.
Out loud. And I'm like, she says, I don't know what you're talking about. And that, for me,
Run.
You see Cersei becoming this woman who, it's almost like her power has gone away, especially juxtaposed next to Sansa in the position that she's in, where she's gaining power. It was just interesting to me because I was like, who is Cersei becoming? And
Desperate.
It just really is kind of one of those moments where you're like, Sansa is really going to be the one to watch, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you're right about Cersei. She is, unfortunately, my lady is going to the way of the paranoid, desperate ruler trying to hold on to power. And Lancel becoming a sparrow. That's an interesting side note. The whole High Sparrow and the sparrows coming in after Tywin's, and it shows right there that Tywin's death already has ramifications.
Yep.
The King's Landing is already changed just simply because of his death.
Absolutely. And then just speaking about people gaining or losing power or seeing someone pass by.
We got to segue.
Yeah.
Longbow. That string.
I was trying. Sansa, as they're in their carriage, who do they pass by?
Brienne and Podrick. Now, these guys have been trekking all over the lands to try and find a Stark, one of the Stark girls. And Brienne, looking for Sansa, found Arya. And then, was like, I'm here to protect you. Yep. What does Arya do? Runs away. Goes, no thanks. And I think Brienne is feeling really rejected. This was all she had to live for.
Yep.
And she's like, here we are. I'm here to fulfill my duty. And this young girl goes, no, I'm good. You know, and she's like, well, what use am I? I'm not a knight.
Yeah.
I don't have a house. You know, I don't have any respect from anyone. Jamie left me. Renly's dead. I've got nothing else to do here. And so basically Podrick's like following her all the way through. And she's like, no, get away from me. Go. I don't want you. I don't want you to follow me. I'm no one special. I've got nothing, you know, to offer you. And as they're having this conversation, a horse and carriage is pulling past. And
the whole thing. Oh, Ken's back.
I'm back.
We're back.
Hey, we're back. Woo, that was fun. We just, you know, had a little mead break. You know what it's like. We have to drink when we can. No kidding. Technical difficulties, but we're back into it. So basically we were just saying that at the point where Brienne was trying to get rid of Pod and that was all going down, she's like, I don't even want to hear about Sansa. Don't even mention her name to me, you little twat. Sansa is not even a league away in the horse and carriage with Peter Baelish. And I think that's like one of those, ooh.
Yeah.
So close.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think those are things too where last season there were characters who intersected that didn't in the books. And these are the moments again where you're like, I'm wondering where George R.R. has said, okay, these are characters that can actually have a conversation and it doesn't change everything. These are ones that I just want the viewers to be like, but you're so no, okay.
And we all did that. In fairness, that's exactly what all of us did. I even circled it. So close.
And I wrote it on my notes too.
So close. That is like the so close effect that's had on everyone.
Yep.
So let's move on. We've got Sir Loras. He's in bed with a dude. There's a lot of nudie Rudy, as I put in my notes.
Not a surprise. I mean,
can we just commend the choreography of the leg placement when they're getting it on and it's like nothing seen, but it's very well done.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it was kind of, at this point, none of it is a surprise, any of the sexual content that you get in Game of Thrones to me. It was like, yeah, we know he's gay. He's having a little fun with his man, and his sister just walks right in and is like...
I dated a guy that looked like Oliver, the guy in bed with Sir Loras. And I was like, oh, this is weird for me.
I also thought it was interesting just seeing how he played that situation, because the sister walks in, she's like, you're holding up everything. He's supposed to be going to meet with the king. Mm-hmm. And he's like, hold on, I'm still going to kiss him, and then I'll slowly leave the room, which she also totally peeped his junk as he got up.
Yeah.
But it was interesting. But it was just interesting the fact that this guy doesn't care either. That,
so Loras even said it. I don't care if everyone knows, because Marjorie was like, can you please be discreet? And he's like, why? Everyone knows.
Yeah.
Everybody knows everything about everyone.
Yeah.
You know, and it's true. There's so much gossip. It's all rife. And he's just like, whatever. I don't even care anymore that I have to hide who I really am.
Yeah.
And then he was like, why do you even care about what Cersei has to think, since, you know, I don't have to marry her anymore now that Lord Tywin isn't forcing that together.
Yeah.
And she's just like, you know, you got to play the game here. And he's like,
she say perhaps.
What happened was Sir Loras was saying, if I don't marry Cersei, she stays in King's Landing, and she's definitely going to be your mother-in-law, and she's going to stay there. To which she says, perhaps. So she's planning to get rid of Cersei already, hence seeing the prophecy with Maggie the Frog.
Well, and I also just really liked the fact that as Loras is talking, he just says, and with his boyfriend or his man friend, that he's like, we should go to Dorne. We would have so much fun there.
Yeah, because
we know what it's like there, where you have Oberyn and his lady coming in.
The capital of sexcapades.
Exactly, and that they are so much more open to everything, like you said earlier, women ruling or having open relationships, whatever it is.
Which we saw Oberyn have with his peasant-born, you know, mistress, pretty much.
Ilaria, yeah. So I think I'm excited because as more conversations start happening, we talked about Cersei and her daughter being in Dorne as well, and then this interaction happens. So we're leading more and more towards Dorne, which if you haven't, there's an Entertainment Weekly magazine that came out, and it's all leading up to Game of Thrones, all about where they're shooting. Dorne is shot in Spain, and that was the first time they shot in Spain for this show. So I'm just really excited to see what they're going to do there and what happens there. It's going to be awesome.
Ken.
Yeah.
The next part is basically Varys laying down his plans to Tyrion, where they are in, what is that? I wrote it down. When they are in Pentos.
Pentos, yeah.
Saying, my favorite quote pretty much of the entire episode saying, what man is capable of sitting on that throne? They must be compassionate. They must be this. They have to be able to rule better than all these other people vying for the crown.
Yep.
Who is this man? And my favorite line is what Varys says back. Who says anything about him? Going, hello, a woman is going to take the throne. And all Varys wants is a land where the powerful do not prey on the powerless, which is all the Lannisters are capable of doing. So he wants Tyrion to wipe the vomit from his mouth, sober up possibly enough to meet Daenerys in Meereen.
And I love it because Tyrion's line is, "Can I get drunk on the way to Meereen?" to meet Dany.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not going to pick one or the other. I'm just going to say, can I do both? Because I'm going to totally get drunk on the way there. We'll see what happens.
To the point of almost dying. But what do you think about this newfound power play where Tyrion could potentially be Daenerys' right-hand man?
Well, again, it speaks to what Varys always recognized in Tyrion, and Varys' plan is a very long-hatched plan. Some would argue that it's gone back to the very end of Robert's rebellion and the death of children. So Varys has had this plan in place. So it says a lot that he's either recruited or always had Tyrion in mind.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that they're going to go, they're going to probably take the Demon's Road over to Meereen. You don't know who you're going to meet. Grifters or something out there.
Oh, like maybe a banished Sir Jorah Mormont who's been sent packing.
Who Ken, I know, has a love for as well.
Well, I am Sir Jorah, and I know for a fact, we've seen him in the trailers, but Jorah's story from here on out is sad and tragic. I'm curious to see how they play it on the show. It's obviously going to be shorter, which I get. But yeah, Jorah, Tyrion, Varys, I think they're all going to team up, and they're going to go talk to Dany and maybe talk some sense into her, because she's flailing a bit.
She can't control the dragons.
She's lost control of her little pets.
She's listening to her boyfriend more than anyone else.
Her
taking
subjects,
a scoundrel into her bed.
Oh, I like nice men. But, her subjects and the people that she's kind of controlling, she's like, no. And he's like, please, you have to listen to me. This might not sound like the best idea, but it's, starting the fighting pits. This is what we need right now. And she's like, how many times do I have to say no until you actually listen to me?
Well, and that's also where, going back to, talking about Jon Snow and being able to talk politics and get people to do the things that he needs to do or wants them to do. In her situation, she's like, I'm not a politician. I'm a queen. She doesn't care. She does not care.
She needs a Tyrion.
Yeah, she needs someone to come in and say, okay, yes, I see that she has a good thought on things. She doesn't want people to have, she says, human cockfights. I don't agree with that. So you're like, okay, yes, that's a good perspective. But at the same time, there is something to be said where it's like, you came into this city, took over, and need to show the people that you respect how they lived before.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you need to reinstate slavery, but
you got to give a little. And it's Dario who put it so perfectly when he was stark naked. Dario's butt. Hashtag.
There was a lot of butt, or as they're saying in the chat room, hashtag dude butt today.
Hashtag dude butts.
All the dude butt.
The dude butts came out ahead today in this episode.
Dude butt is a lot better than the Jew backs. Just saying. Oh yeah, we're all Star Wars fans.
All right.
But he said to her in bed naked, I'm the only one that will tell you how it is and tell you like it is. Everyone else is telling you what you want to hear. I'm the only one that will tell you the stuff that you don't want to hear. And you know what? Yeah, I was a slave. And you get Dario backstory. His mother sold him to the slaver that she'd just slept with. And he was put to work in these fight pits where he became one of the best fighters in the lands. And 10,000 people were cheering his name. And he has this, really fond memory of the time. And he goes, look, if I was in the pits as a slave, and I want them back, then get over whatever it is you've got happening and listen to what needs to be done.
And it's also seeing that that's what made him the man that he is. He wouldn't be able to protect her.
Well, we don't know what kind of man he is because he didn't turn around when he was naked, but one can hope. Oof.
We did get a really good tweet in, though, from Leo, who says, Dany banished Jorah for spying for Varys. Why would Dany trust Varys when he shows up? That is an interesting question because...
That's a great question, Leo. That's a great question.
I didn't even really think about that, where I was like, she sent Jorah away because of the fact that he was spying, and Varys has clearly Varys has no idea of what's going on, and he's like, yep, we're just going to go see her. Everything's going to go over well. It's going to be hunky-dory. So do you think that there has been more interaction between the two of them, or is this going to be a surprise visit?
Varys was spying, getting Jorah to spy on behalf of Robert Baratheon, because Robert made it really clear that he was going to kill Daenerys. That was his number one goal. I don't care what it takes. I don't care if they're children. I don't care if they're babies. Mm-hmm. You will kill the Targaryen brother and sister. And that's what Jorah was in control of, because he was answering to Robert Baratheon.
But was he?
I think that, Robert definitely wanted it. And
Robert
Jorah,
Jorah ended up siding with Varys, not Baratheon.
But that was when he changed his tune.
Yeah, but I also believe Varys had it twofold. Jorah was spying for Varys and Robert. It's the same information going to the same source, but Varys obviously needed to keep tabs on things. Though Illyrio came over from Pentos a couple times to update him, but twofold plan from Varys there.
So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how that interaction goes down, because we don't know. There's potential that there's another spy already in there, or someone who is working on behalf that has shared the fact that, this guy is coming, and maybe she doesn't know who he is. Or maybe it has something to do with the fact that why he needs Tyrion with him. We don't know.
Apparently there was an earthquake.
Yeah. Well,
had a 3.5 earthquake out there. You also had a 3.0 earlier in the day, so batten down the hatches.
I think maybe that's why the show went down. Technical difficulties / earthquake.
Way. That could have been why. That's kind of cool.
Earthquake was a protest of the show going down.
Yeah, wow. Alrighty. Back in Meereen, we know that Dario looks fantastic naked. But what else we know?
I still don't like him.
But what he also says is, you are the queen and anyone can rule, but the reason why you are great is because you are your dragons.
Yeah.
Because you can't do this on your own. You are only special if you have them.
He says you're not a queen if you don't have the dragons.
Exactly. And 2 of them are locked up and one of them's gone. And, Daenerys is like, you're right. I don't know how to control these guys. I don't know what to do. So she goes down in the crypts and she goes to visit.
I don't know what she thought was going to happen.
Viserion and Rhaegar. Doesn't go down well.
Well, she's like, cool. Hey, I've left you in here. I don't know where your brother is. Don't know if anybody's been feeding you. Hey, and the tone of her voice was so cute because she walked in and it was like, if you've accidentally walked into someone's apartment and you're like, Ken?
Viserion.
Are you here? Like...
Are there dragons I chained up and left?
Yeah. I love you. And then they go batshit. They are pissed off. They don't kill her, though, which they easily could have. Yeah.
Ken, what's your take on this whole scene?
It was the last season. That was really sad when she had to lock those up. I mean, that really, we're all owned pets at some point, and you got to put one up, and it takes a long time out.
Well, the breaker of chains chained up her children.
And for this time, it's still kind of heartbreaking. As much as Dany frustrates me as a character because I want so much for her. And I kid you about Dario, but I think he's got some good advice for her. And I did like this scene. It kind of shows his character that he's got some perspective, some common sense. He knows how to rule a little bit or knows how she should rule, I should say. Yeah. And I think it also showed for the first time that she was really ready to listen to someone who was giving her that advice. Yep. She didn't seem to want to pay attention to Barristan and Jorah.
She almost got sick of those two.
Guy with the dimples and the dude butt. She'll listen to him.
Oof. There were 2 actually, above, just next to the base of the spine.
Again, every time he's in the scene,
I'm married.
I'm not in, it's not that for me. Every time I see him, I'm like, you are a present time person. I don't know. For whatever reason, he takes me out of it.
You are a Bondi hipster.
Exactly. Yeah. You are on Nashville.
I actually
/ also on Orphan Black.
I agree with you, Tiffany. He's a good actor. He's doing a great job. Yeah, he's a good looking man. But he doesn't, and it's not even comparing him to the other actor or to what Dario's supposed to look like based on the books, which is a big purple beard and all that kind of stuff. He just looks like every other night in Westeros to me, and I don't want that from him.
Well, it's also just something where it's like, I remember talking about this on Spartacus. There was an actress that played one character. She got replaced. The second character, who I love her. It's Cynthia Adai, who is now on Arrow. But she looks very contemporary, and it's like it just takes you out for a moment when you see someone that you're like, oh, you're not like a fantasy period-y actor to me.
Yeah.
But he is doing a great job. He's a good actor, but I don't know what it is. I'm hoping that I can get rid of that.
Oh, hashtag
maybe it's that butt though that takes me out of it.
Yeah,
maybe it's that dude butt.
So the fact that Daenerys saw her babies, who are double in size than when she left them in there. They are huge now. They're like, Mama, F you, lots and lots of flame and fire, to the point where she's got to get out of there. If it was me, Mother of Dragons, more Daenerys, I'd be like, hey, come down, come out, let's talk about this.
Yeah.
But she didn't. She bailed. She's like,
well,
whoa,
and it's also,
out.
it's interesting because... Yes, we know the other dragon, she couldn't find him. But now they're saying it's been weeks. He could have flown around the world. We don't know what's going on. And the fact that she was so open with him about it, that was interesting to me. Because I'm like, she's not open in that way with very many, if anyone else.
Yeah.
And being able to talk about her dragons and expose that side where it's like, yes, they're locked up, but... everyone else pretty much assumes that she's still in complete control of them. And she's like, I can't control them anymore.
And that's the thing. If the Mother of Dragons can't control her own children.
Who can?
This is the problem that we are facing. And she needs those dragons. I think she should put a little bit more time and effort into, weaning them back into her good side. Because, that is going to just change everything if she don't have no dragons. And then, of course, it comes to the end of the show. Mance, Rhaegar will not kneel. To the point where he is strapped onto a wooden pyre, and Melisandre, delivers some powerful words about everyone having a choice. It doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, a lord or a peasant, a man or a woman.
Light or dark.
You have a choice on who you kneel to and who you worship. And so they lit him up for the Lord of Light. And the creepy thing is, can we talk about how Stannis' wife was smiling the whole time?
Yes.
She's just really weird.
Yeah.
A little nutty.
I don't know what's going on there.
She ain't all there.
It was very telling seeing all of the different responses as that was happening. Yeah. Because you see her smiling. Her daughter actually closes her eyes. Mm-hmm. What the wildling with the red beard?
Flame on.
Tormund Giantsbane. He
looks pained as it's happening. Uh-huh. There's a moment where it's like before he actually starts burning that he looks and you feel like he's like, I told you could have gotten yourself out of this. I'm the smart one here. And then when it actually goes down, I think there was some regret there.
Stannis looks like nothing's bothering him ever because this is needing to happen. And Jon Snow can't take it to the point where he removes himself there. He goes up some stairs. He grabs his bow and arrow and fires a true arrow right into Mance's heart to stop the suffering. And he did it out of mercy. We have already got a question in from Leo who asks, what will the repercussions be now that Jon has done this? Ken.
I don't think they will. I don't think there'll be any repercussions. I think Stannis might be a little pissed, but I don't think anything will happen from that. And also, number one, I don't think Mance is dead. So there you go.
Really?
And it also was a great character moment for Jon Snow.
Burnt. Yes, he died before he was able to be completely engulfed in flames alive, but he's like, that fire was raving. Like, how is it? Ravaging, I should say. The fire's raving.
Raging.
We are on fire. But how is he going to survive that? Huh?
I don't know. I don't know how he's going to survive that now. I know how I would have wanted him to survive it. Is all I can say. But yeah, I don't think Mance is dead. That's all I'll say.
Well, and I think you ask about what the repercussions are going to be, and it's like Stannis already wanted Jon to be in the position where he's on his side, but you can also rule over the wildlings. You can talk to the men on the wall because there's a lot of them that respect you. So I think for him he still got the end of what he wanted. He wanted Mance to die. Yes, Jon went and did it, but now Jon's also still got the respect of the wildlings because they're like, look, he wanted to die honorably, and Mance even said this. He's like, I just don't want them to remember me screaming in pain. And so the moment that it started, that any noise started coming out, that was when Jon shot the arrow.
Yeah, to keep his dignity. How did he not die though, Ken? Because if I'm not mistaken, he used to be the captain of the Night's Watch, wasn't he? He was the Lord Commander there.
He explains when he said, I used to be here. I have a lot of good memories here. Or something.
So is that a key point where if he used to rule there and then he died there, that something happens? Or, I mean, if he's burnt alive, that means the wildlings can't take him, so he's not going to be reborn with blue eyes. Or there are some body snatchers, there are some wargs in the wildlings. Do you think that he teleported into a hawk because there's an arrow in his goddamn heart?
We'll talk off air. How about that?
Oh, man. Does that mean you know something?
I know I'm watching the chat rooms. I've decided to not discuss this on air. How about that?
All right. Hey, what else is going on in the chat room?
Well, a lot of people are asking what you're asking. How could he still be alive? Look, the producers can do weird things with the show, and
there's magic.
But I guess the only thing I'll say to you guys is, are you sure that was Mance?
What do you mean, Ken?
I'm asking you, are you sure that was Mance you saw?
I just feel like there was another earthquake in my heart.
Yeah. Right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what life is anymore.
I don't know. But hey, it was a great scene. You got Tormund Giantsbane. You got Rattleshirt. You have Rattleshirt right next to Tormund Giantsbane watching. It was a hard scene to watch those wildlings.
Yeah.
Is this another hint?
And that actor, Kieran Hines, who did Mance Raider, every scene of his I could watch again.
Oh my gosh.
And again, he does such a good job. There's such humanity to that character of Mance.
And so noble.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
He gave heart and life to wildlings, which we'd been hearing for season after season, how bad and horrible they are. They don't deserve life or existence. And here's a man who's not only rescued them, but he's given them a purpose. Hey, let's talk about the fact that the credits were rolling. This tune sounds a little bit different, but then it was next week on Game of Thrones. We saw Arya enter the House of Black and White. That's kind of going to be interesting because she's now in a completely different place. She's all alone. She's got to learn to survive there. And she's turning to a religion that she's never, ever really known before.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, if you learned anything about this character, she's going to be just fine on her own. She makes a way. She finds someone to connect with. She's just fine.
And we also know that Dawn is going to start playing a very, very pivotal role in this story.
Valeria chopped that hair off.
Yeah, she did too, didn't she?
Yeah.
Got a brand new look. And then we saw an older man. He's going to be a key character in what's going on within...
Doran Martell. That is the prince who was supposed to come down for the wedding last season, but didn't.
And set Oberon instead.
Yeah.
Now, Oberon's got 3 sisters. They are kind of annoyed that he's dead, and they kind of feel that they need to avenge him.
Why did I think they were his daughters?
Are they his daughters?
I'm pretty sure they're his daughters.
What's that, the Sand Snakes or his 9 daughters?
Yeah.
No, daughters.
Yeah, his daughters.
God, he looks good. I mean, he looked good, because now his face is like...
Yeah.
Now he doesn't look so good anymore.
Is mother of 4 of them, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just excited to see them because... If you were following anything on the internet as we're leading up to this season, you got to see the 3 of them with their specific weapons that they use, the looks that they have. And again, in the Entertainment Weekly article I was reading, they were just saying that this is the first time you're going to see women who are vicious,
ferocious,
who are out for vengeance, but also work together. We haven't really seen any characters on this show where the women come together and are all having one goal. It's always been one person where it's like, okay, Cersei's doing this.
Back. We've got Catelyn Stark, who tried to protect everyone so much that it got everyone killed.
Yep.
You've got Brienne, who's so busy being on her own that she's isolating even the one guy who's trying to help her out, Podrick.
Arya and Sansa are separated.
Arya and Sansa, they're completely on their own. And then you've got Cersei and Marjorie. One's going to be the end of the other one.
Yeah.
And they're trying so hard to play one up on each other that they're pushing each other so far apart.
And no one shares their goals, where it's like, Olenna was there and she was helping out Marjorie, but there was no conversation really of, hey, this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
This is the ultimate goal. It's everyone's working on their own thing, but now we're going to see these 3 daughters come in with a united goal, with conversation going on between them. I think they're going to wreck some stuff.
And I have a feeling also that they've got their father's passion and bloodlust and, demanding of vengeance, which Oberon has had most of his life, which ended up costing him his own life.
Yeah, that vengeance wasn't a good thing in the end, huh?
No. I mean, hopefully they aren't as arrogant as he is, or as just like not just like flagrant with his revenge when he got in there, where you're like, don't overestimate where you're at.
You had it.
Yeah.
You had him.
Yep.
And then obviously the story of the mountains, another one altogether. So I'm excited to see where that's going also, because things are happening in the book, and I'm wondering if the storyline's going to take it as well, because obviously they want vengeance. Mm-hmm. He's going to play a big part in that. We don't know if he's dying because he was struck by a poisoned blade. So yeah, big question mark there too.
So first episode done.
Yeah.
What do you guys think for each of you was the most poignant or strongest moment for this episode, for the premiere for you?
I wrote down a couple of the quotes, and I think one of my favorite one is, "Who says anything about him?" from Varys.
Yeah.
I think that was one of my favorite lines. I love Varys so much. He's given up everything because he really does believe in the direction that he's going. So I'm kind of, that's probably for me, that was my favorite part.
Okay.
What about you, Ken?
I love that stuff with Varys and Tyrion. It makes me very excited just as a fan watching those two actors work together. Like I said, storyline-wise, that is also to me the key of the goal. These first episodes always set the goals for the season, and that to me is the most powerful goal, is them going to get a Targaryen to bring back to the throne. Mm-hmm. I like the stuff with the wall. I love everything in that storyline. I love Mance, love Jon Snow, whether or not he's dead or not. I love
Stannis Baratheon. He's so great.
Yes,
that's
and
how Ken does talk about him.
Yeah,
once again doing what is right, trying to gather up an army to go take Winterfell back from the dastardly Boltons. Lot set up in this episode. I think they did a pretty good job of setting up what our season's going to be.
Yeah.
What about you?
My favorite moment was with Mance and Jon Snow where he was in prison, where he was just saying, I captured you and now I'm the one who's captive. And then they just talk about their position. And I think it really just shows what kind of leader Jon could really be. And Jon learned so much from being around Mance. So that for me was, I think, one of the strongest acted scenes and one of the most telling as to where these characters are going to end up.
I can't wait to see if Stannis Baratheon really does stick true to his word and mounts Roose Bolton's head on a spike. That would make me so happy.
Yeah,
well, on top of that,
Stannis, then you come over to Team Stannis' house.
I like that goal. I like that direction of his.
Well, and do we actually think he will do what he said he will do for the wildlings? Give them land, let them stay on the side of the wall? I don't know. I don't really trust him. I don't
think he thinks many of them are going to survive if he's doing what he's doing.
Yeah. Well, that could be the ultimate goal, really.
But it's still funny. We didn't see any White Walkers. We didn't hear any news of them. Mm-hmm. They are not in the picture remotely. I think Jon Snow knows that they're a threat.
Well, the only time they talked about it was when he was talking with Mance.
Yeah.
Where he said, that the title of the episode, The Wars to Come.
Yeah.
Where he's talking about the fact that what's coming. Mance even says it. He's like, good luck with the wars to come, bro.
Yeah. Sawyer.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're burning my body.
Yep.
Because I don't want to be no White Walker.
Yep.
But it's true. He was saying, Jon was saying, so what? You die now, everyone sings your praises, but their praises aren't going to be sung for very long because the White Walkers are going to take us all out because you can't figure out that this needs to happen to protect everyone. Mm-hmm. There you go.
It was a good episode.
What'd you give it out of 10?
For premiere episode for me, I think it would probably be about, like a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I feel about that. Maybe 7.5 for me. I liked it.
I'm going 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. It definitely gets me excited about what's coming. And it definitely gets me excited. Winter is coming. It gets me excited for more of our chats. About the episodes as well.
We will be doing this every single week. Guys, thank you so much for joining in. Let us know, was this a better setup over the old Google Hangout? We are going to be starting bonus video extras on Tiffany's YouTube channel. This is like our personal preferences. So what we particularly like within Game of Thrones, we'll get you involved in that as well. Because you are as big a fans as we are, and we are talking about this together. If you have Twitter, make sure you follow all of us at Ken Napzok, at Maude Garrett, at Tiffany's Tweets. Make sure you tweet in any of your questions during the week. We will collate them. We will get them all together and answer them. Use that hashtag, The Night is Dark, because that is the name of this particular podcast. Make sure you subscribe to Ken's audio-only version if you do want to have a listen to this. Ken, Where can people find it?
Yeah, absolutely. Go to iTunes and look for the Napzok Files. Subscribe. There's several shows on there. This is one of them. You can also listen to my shows about Star Wars and also Alicia Malone's Film School and the Napzok Files, the regular interviews. It's also available on Stitcher and Podomatic. Just go to my Facebook page, Ken Napzok, or Twitter, and get all that. Follow me and get all the information.
And we want to make this the best show that it can possibly be. And to do that, we would love your feedback. If you've got any ideas, any questions, any queries, any suggestions, hit us up. We are all available on Twitter. Nothing that you can say will offend us. We have thick skin. The night is dark and full of terrors, and we've lived through those terrors time and time again.
On the interwebs.
Yes, it is. That is the place that is always dark and full of terrors, that's for sure. But thank you so much for joining us again for episode 2 of The Night is Dark. Please do subscribe if you want to watch this show again. It will be uploaded to youtube.com/Geek Bombshells. My name is Maude Garrett. That there be Tiffany. Ken?
Next time I won't be in Vegas.
Next time you will not be in Vegas.
Yeah.
You'll be here.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Spread the word. Tell your friends that love anything to do with Game of Thrones, because we are family here. The Night is Dark. This is our episode 2. Thank you so much for watching. And don't be full of terrors. Lord of the Light thanks you.
Stop.